Hey, what's up, Reefers? It has been a while since I've talked about the 17-gallon drop-off tank, so let me give you a quick update. Now, the biggest change is probably, as you see right now, there's a big gap right here. Yes, the frog spawn is gone. I used to have a purple tip green frog spawn right here that takes up this entire space, but it was getting to a point where it's so large that it's kind of rubbing up against the front acrylic, and then it's kind of creeping up on the Zoas and the Fathead Andro and also the SPS, so it had to go. Now I thought about fragging it back or like fragging it up into little pieces and line the rock with it, but ultimately I thought it's a shame to kind of frag up such a nice large colony, so I did the next best thing. I know DC Reefer is trying to set up he set up a really nice school tank and they got some space. So I hit him up and I said, hey, why don't you swing by? I want to give you the frog spawn because I'm out of room and he'll be helping me out by taking it out of my hands. So he did that, and I hope the kids at school is totally enjoying it. In its place, now I have like a nice ridge that I can play with. So I thought it'd be cool to grow some Monte Parra cap. As you can see here, I kind of did a little test. This is the red Monte from my 45-gallon tank. It is doing well. So I thought, okay, cool, the 17-gallon drop-off is ready for SPS. So I put that's the StarTech Monte cap right here that I got from Cobb's at a Walmart's meeting. Unfortunately, I think it did not make it. I don't know what happened. It was doing well for a little bit, but after I came back from vacation, it just kind of rapidly went downhill and it's all bleached out. I think it's gone. Yeah, algae's growing on it. Is probably dead. So unfortunately, that did not make it. So instead of trying another expensive Monte cap, I may just kind of get another piece of red Monte moved up here. My goal was to have like a nice ridge of Monte growing here and maybe some green ones a little bit lower so that I get this whole reef crest effect, and I think it'll look pretty cool. But by giving up the frog spawn, I have a little bit more space to play with. Now, speaking of space, another thing you guys may notice is that the GSP has been really aggressively growing, especially upwards this way towards the light. It's kind of creeping over the sand trap and going downwards, which is cool, which is what I actually wanted to do. But at the same time, it's also creeping up on the rock. In fact, if I swing to the other side to show you guys, on this side, it actually made it onto the rock. So it went under the rock and got growing up. I ended up using a tweezer right here and just kind of like scrape it off the rock. This works, but this is just temporary fix. I think like in a week or two, it's gonna creep up onto the rock again. So it's right there. So I've just been like kind of scraping it. So that seems to work and kind of manageable. And right there, you see it's kind of going onto the rock. So I think it is just a matter of time. I have not really found any solution to keep it away from the rock. Although in my 45-gallon tank, let me just give you a quick sneak peek. I did grow some GSP on this shell, and this shell while I was traveling kind of got tucked under the Grande Pally, and the Pally has been beating back the GSP, actually killed the GSP. So maybe growing Pally Azoas at the bottom surrounding the rock may be one solution, but who knows. So anyways, at the moment, my solution is just kind of like scraping it off the rock as I get onto the rock, but I think it's just kind of like a matter of time before I'm overrun. And right here, you see that the mat is growing really nicely up here, which after I shoot this video, I'm probably gonna cut out because I want to keep this back area black. So this arch structure is actually the top of this whole thing. Because if GSP grow onto this wall, then you'll be like, oh, okay, this arch is not quite the top, right? It feels like there's something more up here. So I want to keep the back part black. So I'll probably cut off the mat and just either super glue it here or at the bottom. Now, speaking of the bottom, I've been trying to grow these two frags out, but it's not doing too well. It did not really grow. I mean, the polyp opens up, but that's pretty much it. It has not spread onto the bottom deck yet. I accidentally touched one of them a little bit, but the whole frag plug is free moving, meaning that it has not spread onto the deck. So I think the problem is is probably twofold. Number one, the light is not as strong down here compared to the top. I think up here, this par was about 120, 130-ish. I remember down here it's about like 50, which should be enough, but definitely not as strong. But I think the main issue is water flow. As you can see, there's almost pretty much no flow down here. I've tried playing with pointing the power head differently, but for the most part, flow is not reaching down here. So what I will end up doing, I'm gonna add a MP10 back here, probably underneath this rock structure, because I can kind of tuck it away. And I already got some like sponge pre-filter to make sure nothing gets sucked into it. I'm just really afraid of mochi swimming down there and get sucked into the power head. So I got some sponge filter. I'm gonna try to dial it all the way down and get some flow down here. And I'm pretty confident that once I'm able to get some flow down here, this GSP will start spreading. Speaking of spreading, Carolina algae has really taken off. So I've been dosing elk just a little bit. Last time I seriously overdosed it. I think the elk shot up to like 15 or something. It was something ridiculous. I'm like, holy crap. But level came back down. And you know what? I think maybe that's what killed this piece, now that I think about it. But I'm glad the other SPS made it through the elk overdose. This Monty, the red Monty, just kind of is a Terminator, unkillable. It probably had a lot of practice in my 45-gallon tank where I kind of fudge things up. This bird nest is not doing too hot. I can kind of see some algae growth at some of the tip. You see back there near the fathead dendril. Right back there as well. So that's not a good sign. But I think those areas are the ones that got stung by the frog spawn, so it's already kind of dead anyway. So algae is kind of adhering to the bare skeleton. But I'm tempted. I'm thinking about setting up dosing for this tank as well to make sure everything's stabilized. Because right now everything's kind of relying on water change, which I do every other week. Hey Mochi, where are you going? So usually when Mochi started moving around, that means he's hungry. So I guess I'll feed him after filming this. Moving up a little bit, the zoas are doing fantastic, except for the Rasta right here. That's probably because I was messing with the power head, so now it got some pretty direct flow hitting it. Versus right next to this colony, actually it's two separate mini colony. This colony is out of direct flow and then is all open and happy. And the Sunny D is doing really well. Here, let me swing to the other side. So for some reason, Sunny D has been doing really well for me in both tanks. It's pretty much taking over in the 75. Sorry, the 45. I wish I was 75. And also there's a little bit of Sunny D right there as well. And check out that scallop that I got as a hitchhiker on these Vietnamese zoas. It's opening up a little bit more. It seems to have grown a little bit, not much, but a little bit. But these fathead dendro has gone gangbuster. So both of these came as a 2-head frag. I got this guy for about 9 or 10 months now. The other one's a little bit shorter, maybe like 3 or 4 months. But look at all the baby head that popped up. So if you follow me on Instagram, Inappropriate Reefer by the way, I share a photo of the fathead dendro, and I commented that they make the perfect corals to go with frogfish, at least in my case, because I feed Mochi live ghost shrimp, and sometimes they have die-offs. Like they may not make acclimation, they just kind of die. Like I get like 1 or 2 dies the first 1 or 2 nights for whatever reason. And sometimes I'll feed them to Mochi. And for the most part, Mochi will take them if he's hungry, but sometimes he does not. So for the ones that do not, I just kind of drop them into one of these, the fathead dendro heads, and the fathead dendro happily take all of them in. And as a result, they have been eating quite well. On top of that, I feed them this guy right here. So I feed them this, and of course I feed them the standard frozen food, RLS, Refrancy, and Broads. Just any meaty food. They're not picky at all. I really love these guys. They're so responsive to food. Alright, well, since we're talking about Mochi, this guy has grown. This guy has actually grown a lot. I think he pretty much doubled in size ever since I got him. I have been feeding him 1 damselfish every other week and just ghost shrimps. Gut loaded ghost shrimps, I'll say every day, if not every other day. Look at this guy. Here's a good time to talk about this guy. This yellowtail blue damsel has no fear of Mochi, which is probably not a good thing. But at the same time, Mochi just totally ignores him. Sometimes I see this guy just swim right in front of Mochi and tail slap him. Tail slap Mochi in the face. I don't know what's going on. Now, at first I thought maybe this little guy is still too big for Mochi to eat, right? But recently I fed some pretty large fish. I actually fed a yellowtail blue damsel that is larger, much larger than this guy, and it's almost Mochi's size, and Mochi just ate him just like that. So it's definitely not because the blue damsel is too small. Mochi can eat him if he wants to. I'm not sure why. A little friend Alex, Jim's son Alex, said that maybe they have a pact, meaning that maybe this little guy promised to help Mochi hunt fish and shrimp, chase them there his way in exchange for Mochi not eating him. That may be true based on what I'm seeing, or maybe it's because like when I first got Mochi, this guy's already in the tank, and at the time this little guy was large enough where Mochi cannot fit him in the mouth. So Mochi was like, okay, I cannot eat this fish because this fish is too large for me. But now that it's grown up, maybe he still remembers that. He still feels that, oh, okay, I remember this guy's too large for my mouth. I can't eat him. So I don't know. Have you guys heard of a story where a baby elephant was chained, right, by his leg to a tree for most of his life? But when it's finally unchained, he still remains next to the tree because it still feels like he is chained because he has been conditioned. So maybe it's something like that. Or maybe Mochi just really smart and he just saving that little guy for when food stopped coming. I don't know. So holy crap. Every time this happens, it makes me so nervous. I was like, is today the day that Mochi is gonna chomp down on him? So I know in one of my previous videos I said that, okay, if the yellowtail blue damsel survive for a couple months, I think it deserves to go in the 45-gallon tank. So I said that, yes. Because I thought, when I saw other fish being introduced to this tank, this blue damsel seems to be chasing the fish away from Mochi, right? So I was like, oh man, this guy is such a hero, blah, blah, it's so awesome, blah, blah, blah. But I realized that this guy is simply territorial, because what I realized that if the other fish are not yellowtail blue damsels, if they're like four-striped damsels or domino damsel, this guy will tear the other fish up until the other fish is like hiding right here, torn fins and stuff. I was like, man, this guy's just aggressive. He is a little bit nicer towards other yellowtail blue damsels. So I guess they do kind of recognize their own kind. So this guy is kind of a jerk. So he's not being nice. He's just defending his territory. He's not intentionally chasing out a fish away from Mochi. He's just defending his territory. So with that in mind, I think like if this fish goes into the 45, man, the green chroma is already hating. Well, I wouldn't say they're hating life. They're actually doing pretty well. It's just that whenever I'm near the tank, all the fish thinks that food is coming. That's when the clowns started dive bombing the green chromas. But anyways, so these guys are dealing with the clowns already. If I throw the yellowtail blue damsel in here, man, the yellowtail blue damsel is even more aggressive than the clown. Who knows what's gonna happen? So I'm kinda, look at that. So I'm kinda rethinking that. I don't know, we'll see. I know that if I do end up upgrading my tank, just a matter of time, then there's definitely a space for this guy. But adding this guy to the 45, I had to kind of like rethink this real quick. I know I'm kind of going back a little bit. But Mochi's obviously hungry. He's kind of walking around hunting. He does this. He starts roaming when he's hungry. So I'll feed some gopher shrimp after this. Another thing I want to update you guys on is the rainbow bubble tip anemone, or the orange bubble tip anemone, which lost its color. So as I showed last time on what not to do, how not to frag a BTA, I totally ripped this guy. So as you can see, the left side, the tentacles are, it's all healed up, and the tentacles are a lot shorter here, but it's definitely growing back. So this guy has made it. It just needs to be fully recovered. Now, am I gonna attempt removing it again? Maybe later? Not, because like right now it's kind of tucked away, so it's not stinging much now. It's maybe just stinging these Vietnamese zoas right here, but for the most part it is okay. So I'm gonna leave it alone, and I think the other piece that I gave to Zally is doing well as well. I'll ask her to do an update. Look at Mochi. What's Mochi? Mochi, what are you doing? Why are you so active? By the way, you see it when it's moving around. You'll see it kind of like open and close his mouth a lot. What happens is that he is actually drawing water in from the mouth and kind of using jet propulsion out his leg. Ugh! Every time I see this, look at this. The tail is touching him. Look at, I don't know. Yeah, but just based on this reaction, I feel like this guy's gonna be with us for a while. Do you guys want to name him? I'm really hesitant in naming any fish because as far as I know, he could be gone tomorrow. Anyways, okay, yeah. Oh, look at Mochi go. You see how like behind his fins, there's like a little hole right there, right? It's kind of weird. You see how the hole is kind of blowing out and in and out? So that's exhaust, if you want to call it that. So Mochi is taking water from the mouth, and then it's gonna blow water out of that little elbow-looking thing. It's pretty cool, right? So that kind of helped them swim. That's a jet propulsion. And of course, he uses his fin to kind of crawl along the rock work. But yeah, this guy has grown, doubled in size. I guess he has been eating pretty well. Man, I could sit here and just watch him all day. And what is that guy doing? Yeah, that guy may be too bold now for his own good. We'll see what happens. If he can last till I upgrade the tank, definitely got space for him in the large tank. If I can catch him. This guy's also really smart. As I approach a tank usually with a net or whatever, he immediately dart into like the rock work. So he may be tough to catch too. So we will see. He's just really smart. But he's not smart where he keeps going up to Mochi and right in front of his mouth, as in is tempting him. Is like he's daring him. It's like, hey, come and try and eat me, and let's see what happens. Crazy. Yeah, another interesting thing is that I start noticing a little yellow spots on Mochi. Also, the fin has a little yellow spot. It's really strange. Look. The troublemaker is... Oh my god. Look, tail fin's almost touching him. And that is already striking distance for Mochi, because as they open the mouth to gulp food, it creates a vacuum that sucks the water in. So that little damsel is definitely within striking range. Alright, anyways, sorry, this update has been pretty long. I have a tendency to ramble. If you are watching it, I love doing this when I have like long videos. If you're watching to the end, if you're still hearing this, leave a comment. Let me know who are the hardcore Reef Squad. Oh crap, this guy's coming back. Ah! See, furthermore, when I see Mochi kind of undulating the top fin, usually that's a sign that he's kind of hunting. So this guy's hungry. But I just don't understand why he has not gone after this fish yet. Really weird. Okay, alright, sorry, I got sidetracked easily too. So if you're still watching this at this point, leave a comment, let me know so I know who are the hardcore Reef Squad. Yeah. Good to be back. I think I'm done traveling for a while, so stay tuned for more regularly updates. And as always, thank you for watching until the end. And I will see you guys next Sunday at 9:30 a.m. sharp, if not earlier. See ya.
I was walking with the ghost.
So this is how thick the acrylic is for the huge aquarium, just so the water won't bust through. That's crazy.